So the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight has been pushed back to November, and I really have to wonder, are people still hyped up to see this fight, or were they hyped up at all at the beginning? Because if you think about it, Mike Tyson's last pro fight was in 2005, and Jake, while he's been active, he's been fighting MMA fighters that are mostly past their prime. So is this really a true fight that we're looking forward to? I don't know. Here we have the tail of the tape, and as you could see, Mike Tyson is 30 years older than Jake Paul. That is the age of a fully grown man and the age that many would consider to be a prime boxer. And as much as a legend as Tyson is, to get in a pro-sanctioned bout with someone that's half his age is pure friggin' insanity. Now, Jake is not a pro-level boxer at all, but to the least he's shown some athleticism and he's physically in pretty good shape. So just by sheer age and physicality, he's coming into this fight a lot fresher than Tyson. Now, to get a bit deeper in the Mike Tyson lore here, let's look at his past 3 pro bouts. And those opponents would be Clifford Etienne, Danny Williams, and Kevin McBride. And the years those took place are 2003, 2004, and 2005. That's right, a whole whopping 20 years ago. And that's a long ass time when you're an athlete and pretty much inactive, I would say, other than the Roy Jones Jr. exhibition in 2020. So with Clifford in 2003, Tyson pretty much made short work of him. 50 seconds into the first round, he lands a devastating hook, knocks Clifford out. It was kind of akin to that late 80s, early 90s Iron Mike Tyson kind of vibe. The whole crowd was hyped. They loved it. He bounced back from his loss to Lennox Lewis in the previous year, 2002. So there was kind of that fire again. But then in 2004, the year after, he faced Danny Williams. And Danny Williams was kind of a up-and-comer heavyweight contender, I would say. Like decent hype around him, solid fighter, should be a good matchup, but ideally a win for Tyson. Well, Tyson did bring it to Williams early in the fight. He poured it on, he showed good energy, landed some good shots. But after the first couple rounds, Danny Williams kind of just endured the initial storm, so to speak. And after that, Danny Williams started to pour on more punches, and Mike Tyson started to visibly fade. Now, we've seen this happen before, I would say in the 90s, but not as often. Now, it was the early 2000s, and people were really questioning Mike Tyson's legacy at this point. So, after those first couple rounds, going into rounds 3 and 4, Williams was pouring it on more and more, and eventually, I believe in round 4 is when he knocked down Tyson, and Tyson was just down on the mat. And it seemed like the ref was counting a little bit fast, but also Mike Tyson had this look on his face like he was kind of like half in and half out of the fight. So the ref was counting, and then Mike kind of like said, okay, it's time to get back to work. Got back up to his feet, but at this point the ref was already counting 8, 9, 10, and the fight was over. And Mike Tyson didn't look too bothered about it, but people were wondering, is this the end of Tyson? Is this all he can do? Is it all over, right? Well, fast forward to 2005, Mike then faces an Irish journeyman called Kevin McBride. Now, this fight seemed like it was a sure setup for Tyson to win. You know, no one really knew who McBride was. I believe he was lowly ranked and, you know, kind of a gimme to Tyson to bring him back into the fold, or at least get a knockout or a knockdown or something to show the fans and, you know, get their money's worth and keep the market machine behind Iron Mike. But in this fight, you know, you saw it start off hot like the Williams fight. Mike showed some promise. He was bringing the fight to McBride, landing some of his devastating punches, but McBride took the shots very well. Arguably, I would say he took them better than Williams. And he stood there kind of tall and strong. He has that kind of lanky, tall build. He was using his stature and weight against Tyson by leaning on him, kind of zapping the energy from Tyson. And about halfway through the fight, around the 6th round, after a few punches from McBride, they didn't look like anything too spectacular, but in that round he was landing some good shots and good stringing shots as well. But these last few punches he lands, he just kind of half-ass leans on Tyson, and then Tyson just collapses to the ground and falls to his ass. Excuse me. And Tyson was on his ass, just looking up at McBride and the ref like he was in the Twilight Zone. He didn't know like what to do. It was the end of the round, so I believe there was less than 10 seconds left, so he could be saved by the bell or whatever, but it looked like he had no desire or anything in him to get back up. He was just pretty much finished by his own accord. And that's what happened. Like, after he went back to the corner, he was kind of like nonchalant about everything. It seemed like he wasn't sure. Then the ref came out over to the corner, and I believe Mike Tyson's corner man just said it's over. He's had enough. So they ended the fight there. And then after that fight in 2005, Mike Tyson pretty much retired. He said, I'm done. I have no more passion. I don't want to waste the fans' money. And that's it for me. So like I mentioned before, that was 20 years ago when Kevin McBride beat Mike Tyson. And even back then, in that 2003, 2004, 2005 era, people were clamoring and hoping for the old Iron Mike of the late 80s and the early 90s to come back and be the knockout artist, or hopefully be the champ like he once was. Now we're in the year 2024. So I know Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. He always carries an aura around him. He looks physically awesome, and he's a cool dude. But this isn't like a comic book or a superhero movie where Mike Tyson could just like initiate a power up and then hit his lethal uppercut and then bob and weave like he's 20 years old again with custom auto and just like kill the guy. It's too much of a fantasy land thought in my mind. Like, I hope Mike Tyson comes back and he really shows, some of his old ways in some way, but I don't know. I don't think people really think deeply enough of how battle worn he really is and how he's almost 60 years old. And is the juice really worth the squeeze? Is it really worth taking the risk of head trauma or concussions at almost 60-year-olds to get back into the ring and fight Jake Paul just to knock him out, even though it'd be cool as hell to see, right? Because I'm not a fan of Jake Paul. It'd be cool as hell to see Mike Tyson take his block off right in the middle of the ring. But at the end of the day, we have to be realistic too. And I just don't see it happening. And another question is, how is this fight getting pro and sanctioned? Because that's how they're hyping it up, right? Like, what did the Texas State Athletic Commission, like, what kind of hoops did they have to jump through in order to get an almost 60-year-old man to fight a YouTube become boxer 27-year-old in a main event on Netflix for a pro sanctioned fight? Like, I don't know what kind of like licenses they had to sign off, if there's certain clauses in the contract, which there probably is, right? If we have to think about it, I don't know, but there has to be, right? So yeah, anyways, that's my quick thoughts and breakdown on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul situation. I'm still vaguely interested in this fight, but since hearing that it's been postponed till the 15th of November, like, the hype train is just like going down and down into the ground more. And I think Jake Paul's doing whatever he can to save this story and forget about, Mike Tyson having a hernia and barely being able to walk with a cane and all that. Like, that's all fake news, right? Like, no way, he's not 60. He's still got the old line inside of him. Pay for this free on Netflix. Like, how Netflix isn't free, right? If you're paying what, $20 with ads or without ads these days. I don't know. It's expensive, but that's another rant. So if you let me know what you think about this fight, or what your opinions are, or if you are even hyped about it. And I guess we'll follow it and see what happens in these coming months until November. Anyways, thanks for watching and take care. Peace.